indescribable, baby. Just such a culmination of everything that's gone on in this program in 2 years.
So Josh Heupel and Jay Norvell will not be returning as members of the coaching staff here next year.
Fires, intercepted, and it's over. Oklahoma comes from behind and upsets what looked like a sure win for Tennessee.
Josh Heupel's going back to Oklahoma. And this is like full-on Wyatt Earp and Tombstone sort of stuff. I know he's downplaying it this week, but behind the scenes, he wants blood. He is out for blood.
Welcome back, all you lovely people, to the Checkerboard Chat podcast. Ain't no love in Oklahoma.
There is.
That's right.
Zero love in Oklahoma, especially after what Nico and Heupel and company, especially the defense did.
Yeah, I was going to say, you said Nico first, but I don't know. He didn't have a bad game, but that defense.
That defense. Oh, my goodness.
How refreshing is it to know that it doesn't matter really who you play, your defense is going to give you a shot to win the football game.
That and the fact that it's nice to know that your team can put up 60, but can't stop them from putting up 55. That is what's refreshing. Like, the offense is awesome, but if you can't stop them from scoring, that's what makes it scary. And now we have both this year. We have both.
I can't tell you a time in my life that I've been following Tennessee football to the extent that I have been in the past 15 years or whatever. I can't tell you a time that I've seen a defense like this that is exciting to watch.
No, I mean, not to this level. No, you're right. We've had good defenses in the past, but not, I guess, our age that, remember step for step or can say, 7 years ago, I remember these plays.
Right.
Nothing that we can remember. So this is, to me, by far the best defense we've seen.
Yeah, that's true.
Absolutely.
25-15 was your final score in Norman, Oklahoma. The spread started, Oklahoma -3, ended up at like Tennessee -7, so we covered the spread there. One bigger than Vegas thought we would. A lot of people would say very, very, very conservative play calling, and I would agree, but I think that's just another testament to what we are. If we can go out and beat a top 15 team on the road in primetime, calling plays conservatively,
that's the mark of a good football team.
Who can you not play against and be competitive with?
Heupel, and some people may have seen the clip or tried to read his lips, but, he was telling Nico, basically, hey, we toned it down.
No, he said, that's if I'm not a professional lip reader, but if you listen to that audio pretty somewhat clearly and you can move the mouth and pay attention to what he's saying, you can see, hey, I called the dogs off in the second half because of how our defense is playing. But then he kind of tapped him in the chest and said, heck of a job.
Yeah.
I mean, and even Nico looked at him and kind of nodded like, oh, yeah, I knew that.
Yeah,
I knew
got
that.
you. Yeah.
So, again, you cover the spread. You won by 10 on the road against a top 15 team, calling the plays conservatively. So conservatively that we only ran 21 passing plays while we ran 52 rushing plays.
I don't know the stats of those, but how many of those 21 passing plays were an extension of the run game? Those screen passes and stuff like that. So, I mean, we didn't throw the ball downfield a lot. I mean, we only had 4 or 5 times. We had 3 deep balls, but
and only one of them was like really explosive.
Yeah,
which is very unusual.
And you look at, it's one of those. It is unusual, but go back and look at Oklahoma's previous games. You watch Tulane play Oklahoma, and any coach in the world would say, "Yeah, I'm probably going to run the ball a lot."
Yeah,
I mean, so. Some people have called it conservative play calling. Other people, I've seen just say, hey, he knows how to watch film and make a game plan.
So anyone that says that we didn't tone it down is just a hater or an Oklahoma fan that don't want to face the truth. I mean, that's to me, that's all there is to it. We could have beat them by more, but why?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and up
What was
until
you-
that
yeah, what was you
video,
gonna say?
until that video come out, I was under the impression that he toned it back and was conservative to protect Nico. You had 2 tackles
Yeah,
who were either second string or Dane Davis having to flop back and forth. And was he really just trying to protect Nico by running the ball so much?
It's very true. And another thing that we just maybe tend to forget or whatever, us as fans, we want to see the 52-14.
Oh,
You know
yeah.
what Josh Heupel wants to do? Win the game and get the heck out.
Yeah, win the football game.
Win the football game and get out. I don't care if I have to run the ball 102 times. If it keeps my quarterback and skill players safe and I can still win the game, that's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, true. Yeah. I mean, that field was staring people up.
Golly, dude!
Did you see all that about that?
Oh my
gosh!
My front yard's in better shape than that.
That's just terrible.
And I barely even have one.
I've seen so many pictures, and it was just, it had to be 4 inches thick.
Wasn't you, Chase, that didn't Samson change cleats at halftime?
I saw a report that Dylan Sampson switched to longer spikes at halftime and came back out. I don't know. I mean, I don't remember where I saw it, if it was reputable, but I do remember seeing that.
There has to be. I would assume there's an SEC standard for how you have to have the field on game day. I would assume there is.
I would assume, but
that ain't it.
That can't be it.
Speaking of which, while we're on the topic of fields, have y'all seen what's going on in Neyland?
Yeah, they ripped it all up and started over.
Ripped it all up. Yesterday they had it all up, and I seen today they were rolling out the news. So they got, this week and then Arkansas. So, almost 3 weeks to get it back?
We got some time.
Perfect time to do it. I would assume because of the concert.
Yeah.
But, so let's dive into some offense. How we feeling about putting up 25 against, in my opinion, legitimately a top 5 defense in the SEC, which I guess would translate to almost the country.
Yeah,
that's a solid D.
Yeah, it's a really good defense. I mean, they were flying all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
They were following the ball.
So that's another thing is people's like, well, it was only 20. Yes, it was 25. I'm telling y'all, that's a good defense. If they could have a sliver of offense, that would be a very dangerous team.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of ruined the hopes of them having a good quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah, well.
They got shut down fast. I didn't expect that.
I didn't either.
No. I didn't. I did not expect us to come out that hot. But, so, what does anybody have Nico's stat line pulled up? I know he only threw 21 times, or that's how many pass plays we ran. Of course, the one that sticks out is the big bomb to Thornton down the line, and then the other one that was called back over that phantom holding call.
Oh, yeah, that one. I forgot about that one.
That wasn't a touchdown, but it put us in the red zone.
Brew had a really nice catch.
Yeah.
Let's say Nico was 13 for 21, 194.
Okay.
1 touchdown.
And the thing is that I don't know. I don't mean to harp on the penalties and holding calls, but at the same time, if you were going to call that, you could call that on every play.
Yeah.
I mean that's one of those you got to either stick with it or just let it ride. You have to make your decision before the game.
That was a garbage call.
I think we ended up still getting 3 out of that drive. So, I mean, we only lost 4 points, but you take it up, and then we're talking possibly 29-15, but it is what it is.
And on their defense, I mean, I was really impressed with Stutzman that Chase pointed out last week.
Yeah, he's
a stud. Trying to pull up his stats, what he had at the end there.
He only had 3 tackles, but
he was busting in holes, and he kind of reduced our run game.
That's the same thing James Pierce has done all year. He don't really have a stat line to look at, but he's caused all kinds of havoc in the backfield. Pressures.
Yeah, he's getting pressure nonstop.
Yeah. Running game. What y'all think? So we've talked about Nico in the past. What do you think about the running game against a very good defense?
It was.
He got
It
the
was-
job done.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that's what I was alluding to. It was as effective as it needed to be.
Yeah.
Can't disagree there. That was. What would you, if you had to put top so and so on their defensive line? Where would you rank them? Or Oklahoma
Just as a unit, their D line.
as a unit, their D line. Where would you rank them?
SEC or
Yeah, in the SEC.
I mean, I've not really paid a whole lot of attention to what Georgia's D line looks like, but I couldn't imagine that they're that far behind them on just D line talent.
Talent wise, on paper, I would give the edge to Georgia. Watching ball games, I'm saying Oklahoma. Kentucky had a field day running against Georgia. That was all they could do.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they can't throw the ball.
They created quarterbacks with Will Levis. What are you talking about?
Oh, you're right. Yeah, it's a quarterback factory over there.
All right, so in between the offense and defense, we're going to introduce a new thing from my boys, the Big Stepper segment. This is a pick segment we're going to do. It's for me, Dylan, and Cody. This is where we're going to do 3 SEC games each week. Basically, all we're doing is picking 3 that we all kind of agree on, giving a score prediction for those, and then whoever gets the closest to that score prediction is 3 points, second is 2 points, and then last is 1 point. Last week, not to get crazy with it, but I have 6 points, Dylan has 6 points, and Cody has 6 points. So I'm not going to say those numbers together, but you see we're tied up from week 1. So the games on the slate this week are Kentucky versus Ole Miss. Ole Miss is 17-point favorite. Alabama versus Georgia. Georgia is a 2-point favorite. Auburn versus Oklahoma. Oklahoma is the 2-point favorite. For the Kentucky versus Ole Miss, Dylan has 14-32 Ole Miss. Cody has 14-40 Ole Miss. I have 31-10 Ole Miss. For the Alabama-Georgia game, Georgia is a 2-point favorite. Dylan has 14-17 Alabama. Cody has 42-38 Alabama. I have 28-24 Alabama. The third game is Auburn versus Oklahoma. Oklahoma is a 2-point favorite. Dylan has 17-20 Oklahoma. Cody has 38-21 Oklahoma. I have 28-17 Oklahoma. So that is that pick segment. So we will keep up with that going week to week, and we'll have those results obviously at the end of this week. So now we can dive on into the defense.
So, do you guys have any sort of stakes going on that? Any wager to that?
I think it's in the backgrounds. We are working on that for the end of season stuff. We haven't come up with a final. We don't know if it's going to be monetary or a kind of like a, hey, you lost, so you have to go.
Yeah.
Do this. We haven't come up with that yet.
Okay, so shift and focus to Tennessee's offense. I think the NCAA needs to change the way that they look at injuries. Not necessarily fake injuries, but just injuries as a whole. It could be a real injury, or it could just be a cramp, but I mean, I like what you said here with an injured player has to sit the entire series if they're helped off the field.
Yes.
If they get up on their own, they sit for a minimum of 4 downs, or they can decide what's fair there. Yeah. But I think that's my proposal. But I think they've got to do something.
Yeah, the one that happened was pure point blank. I mean, Kirk Herbstreit even said it.
Yeah,
he's over it. It's pitiful.
It's awful.
And it's not only us. Ole Miss has to go through it all the time. It's just nonstop.
It's all your fast offenses.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a way to slow the game down.
Yeah.
So I listen. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, if you truly, they're saying that they want to protect these players. NFL saying they want to protect these players. then protect them. Protect them if they're truly injured. Give them time to rest and see if they're ready to come back in.
Yep. Matter of fact, we had this conversation this weekend. We were talking with Pop, and I think we kind of all came to the conclusion that sitting out the remainder of the drive would be a sufficient, for us as far as fans. Like you don't have to sit out a whole quarter, but you don't just get to sit out 2 plays.
You could turn the ball over. This happened twice in the Tennessee-Oklahoma game.
Yeah.
You turn the ball over and get the ball right back. You can come back in because the possession changed.
Yep.
Yeah.
Your drive ended, and then you got it back.
So I listened to this argument on Sports Talk not too long ago. Eric Ainge actually was the one to bring it up, and the guy that they were talking to, I don't know if he was like a sports law guy or sports whatever, health whatever, but he was like, that's a very tricky situation because like how do you prove that someone's faking that injury?
You don't have to if you adopt this new rule. You don't have to prove it. I mean, you're injured, sit out.
Yeah. And that's kind of where I was going with it. That's preach and protect these players.
Yeah,
protect them.
There's no, you don't have to guess if they're faking it or if they're not. I mean, that's going to be the rule.
Mm-hmm.
To me, anyway, that's how it makes sense in my head.
I agree. That's good point. I guess you don't have to make a decision one way or the other. The decision's made. Fair.
And that's why there should be a delineation between being helped off the field and you catch a cramp and you walk off.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, because you're right. I mean, you get somebody that takes a big hit, right? They're down and they have to be helped off. Next thing you know is a shoulder stinger. So yeah, they were hurt, but 20 minutes later they're fine. They're ready to get back in.
Mm-hmm.
But you take somebody that caught a leg cramp, get some pickle juice or electrolytes in, and in 2 plays they're good to go again.
Yep.
So that I don't know. That's where I'm like, well, a drive could take 5 minutes. If I've got a cramp and I got pickle juice in my system and I'm ready to go back in 2, should I have to sit out the rest of the whole drive?
I don't know. I mean, that's something
that's the tricky part to me, I guess.
That's above my pay grade.
That's right.
But you know what? That's where coaches and players need to understand. Hey, I know I got a cramp. I either need to wiggle my big butt off to the sideline really, really fast.
Yeah.
Or I just need to accept the fact that I can't do nothing. I need to sit down, and I'm just not going to get to play until we turn the ball over score.
That's true, and that's good. That would probably trickle down to affecting your strength and conditioning program. You're going to have these. You're going to have these
talk
guys
about an emphasis. There would be a bigger emphasis on strength and conditioning than there ever has been.
Yeah, I mean that'd be important if you lose like Cooper Mays for a series because he was cramping. I mean that's a big deal.
Nope.
Massive.
And I don't know if you can make the distinction of if your team's on defense if it matters because that's really where the problem is.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
That's what I'm saying, because if you don't make the distinction, just imagine, right? So, play 1 of a drive, Nico goes down with a calf cramp. We lose Nico for an entire drive that could take, Lord knows how long. But I don't know. That's tricky. That's a hard.
Yeah,
I do not envy the people that have to figure that out.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see the change, but I don't think we will because it's so tricky to figure out.
I think we won't see the change because that hang up of, I don't know if you'd ever see anything like legal action, but I mean, I could definitely see some player after the game say, hey, my team lost the game because we were charged for a penalty and I couldn't play over an injury that a referee said I was faking when I certainly did not.
Yeah, true.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know if it'd ever go that far, but I also didn't know we'd have players like the quarterback for UNLV. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
And the running back.
As far as like an hour and a half ago. He did the same exact thing. Bro, y'all are in the top 25 first-time program history.
They're making a statement.
3-0, top 25. I look at it both ways. Like, it stinks,
show
but
me the money.
If you were promised something, I mean, hey, think of it this way. If somebody come up to you while you were at work and was like, hey, you're going to get paid $30 an hour starting tomorrow, and then you walk in tomorrow and that pay raise didn't come, you're probably going to be pretty upset.
Oh
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, if this man was promised $100,000 to come and transfer there, and he's there, and the money ain't there, I'd be pretty upset. I don't know if I'd quit on my team after doing some program shattering stuff, but
Yeah, I don't know.
that's tough. So how about that defense? We've talked about the offense. Now let's get into the meat. Let's get into the meat and potatoes.
We could talk about this for an hour.
That's what I'm talking about. This is big dog stuff here.
I'm just gonna say a name. Jacoby Thomas.
Dog.
Dude, that hit. Oh my goodness.
That man, I'm telling y'all now, I put it in the notes. I'm sure you've read it. I'm telling you, to me, that is one of my favorite portal pickups.
Did you see the sideline view of the hit?
No, I haven't seen. I've seen just the standard. Oh my gosh.
The sideline view of the hit, it looks like his shoe comes off. He hit him so
that wouldn't surprise me. Knocked him out his cleats. That dude, I'm telling you. And then, I mean, JPJ, whether he's getting stats or not, I mean, he's bringing pressure. Our defensive line is nasty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And as deep as they are, I mean, it's just constant. It's one after another.
Is there a who's got a better defensive line top to bottom than us in the country? End to end, top to bottom.
I don't know.
No,
as far as
I've done the research today. I went position for position with the top 7 teams in the country. I would take ours over those.
Yeah.
Any day of the week.
So somebody that I absolutely love to watch is Jackson Moy.
Yeah.
Dude. When he throws up the S for the Samoans after the sack of the TFL or what, oh my gosh, that is electric.
When he got that tackle for loss and he flexed, I almost jumped behind the couch and hit. I thought he was coming to get me. That man's a monster.
He's a monster. And
he's a big human.
But I mean, he's big as far as just a big guy, but he's fairly undersized for an SEC D lineman. He's only 6'2".
He makes up for it in tattoos, I guess, because he looks massive and mean.
He's a beast.
He is.
Are you talking about the tackles for loss? The third quarter stat that ESPN gave that OU had 23 rushing attempts and Tennessee had 16 tackles of those 23s at or behind the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
That's
nasty.
Insane.
It's stupid.
That's so crazy.
Again, this is not K-State, Chad. This is against Oklahoma, a top 15 program at
their place.
At their home in primetime. With the lights on.
We were teeing off on them, man. It's just...
Secondary looked great.
Boy, Jamard McCoy.
You can just keep throwing names over and over of
impressive
guys
across the board
that are just lighting it up.
All right. So this leads me to my next question. Is NC State and Oklahoma not as advertised, or are we that good? Do we make them look that bad?
Okay.
I mean, Clemson embarrassed NC State.
Clemson's defense is not Tennessee's defense.
No.
Oklahoma's
offense. Be one of the two.
Oklahoma's offense sucks.
Yeah.
But did we make it look worse than it is? Yes. I think we did.
We made it look worse. And they didn't get their last touch. It was a minute 30 left. Yeah, they got a garbage time tutty.
Yeah, they didn't. I mean, they didn't have a touchdown until the backup came in, right?
Yes.
Yeah. We held them scoreless through, was it 19 or 20 quarters?
It was 19 quarters. That's three quarters of this game that they were scored.
They didn't get their first touchdown until what, fourth quarter?
Fourth quarter, yeah. And the game was already at hand by then.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Cody told me he lost a $500 payout because Oklahoma outscored Tennessee in the fourth quarter.
Oh, yeah.
It was like an 8-leg parlay.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah. Again, go position by position. I have nothing but impressive things to say, especially for the linebackers and the line.
So we brought up what 4 players just now that
Mhm.
that were really impressive, and we didn't even say the name of the guy who led the team in tackles.
Who was it? Will Brooks?
I wouldn't even know.
Arion Carter.
Oh,
I mean,
see,
Dog.
yeah, that was my favorite at the beginning of the year.
Oh yeah.
I was,
yeah,
I was rooting for him.
he's nasty. Well,
Boo.
Boo went out. I don't remember when he went out, but he went out with a stinger, shoulder stinger, I believe, and he'll be back for the Arkansas game. So
Enough time to recover. We had a good bye week time. We get 2 this year, but we hit the first one in a really good spot.
Yeah, it's a good spot.
Yes. Yeah. Can we go back for a second?
Yeah.
Going back to, you said, is there a team that would compare, right? Defense-wise.
Mm-hmm.
You take all 11 guys and you put them in a red and black jersey, put a G on their helmet.
No one team in the country.
Absolutely.
Number one defense, breaking records. I mean, they're
There's
talking.
no way you beat that team.
They're on Sports Center every day.
I mean, look at their game against Kentucky. It was not that impressive. And Kentucky is not good.
Not good.
Not good at all. Again, it's weird to say because we look at the NC State game, so we can point at them and be like, "Oh, it's a top 25 team," and then they turn around and lay an egg against Clemson. But we did this against Oklahoma, so that I guess that's where my whole thing is like Tennessee is starting to gain, I guess, more national respect. It seems, but it's also drawing in a lot more hate nationally, just like we always knew it would. But it's not coming with the way that they would rank some of the other teams. If it were Georgia, Clemson, Alabama, but one of those teams. Of course, I don't know how you can go. What we sitting at right now? 6, 5?
AP poll?
Yeah,
5. We jumped on Miss actually.
So we're starting to gain more and more respect, but this week will tell us a lot. Arkansas has A&M.
Yeah.
Is it at A&M?
That game is at A&M.
At Kyle Field. Texas A&M versus Arkansas. Our next opponent is Arkansas. So
A&M is a 4-point favorite at home.
They're ranked, right?
Yes, 24.
So Arkansas beats a ranked 24 A&M at their house. What's that put them? 1 loss?
Arkansas has 1 loss currently.
So, I mean, if they beat a top 20...
That was Oklahoma State. That was Oklahoma State in double overtime.
In double overtime. You may see a 24-25 ranked Arkansas team
that was
when we go to meet them.
At Oklahoma State, too.
I mean, it's a stretch, but it's not out of the question.
Listen, did you watch the Arkansas-Auburn game?
No.
Did you catch any of it? That was an ugly, ugly, ugly football game. Like,
I'm already hearing some rumblings of like Hugh Freeze not vibing well there. I don't know what's going on, but
I've been hearing some stuff. This is foreshadowing to the Arkansas week, but I think we blow them out. I'm not worried about him after watching them play Auburn.
That's what's crazy. Is you was talking that last week. You was talking about you was more nervous about that game than you was Oklahoma.
I was. They're a little scary, or I thought they were until I watched them play Auburn.
Yeah, they're
and Fayetteville's not an easy place to play.
No,
I mean in our last 3 matchups against Arkansas, they've beat us all 3 times.
We were there for one of those. Long time. No, maybe not.
I did go the last time they came to Neyland. I went to that game and they beat us.
It was
first play of the game. We returned a kick for touchdown. I remember that vividly.
This is the year. This is the year we're going to get our lick back on them, though.
Oh yeah, we're going into that game with a vengeance.
Absolutely. So, where would you? I mean, this according to what PFF or whatever that The Tennessee Oklahoma game was the most watchable game of the week.
Whew.
But I mean, game day was there. It was supposed to be an electric atmosphere. It was, all the people hollering.
There weren't any good games to watch, really.
Slate was pretty weak. Where's game day going this week? Oh, Georgia.
Alabama.
Yeah, absolutely,
definitely going there.
So, we'll get into that because we got our picks later. I guess the bye week we can discuss a little of that. We got some injured dudes that we need to get healthy.
Lance Hurd will be back. John Campbell Jr. will be back. Boo Carter will be back, and I think that's really it.
So you had the rundown on who may or may not
we
be
had
back.
the O lineman Umarov. I think he'll be out for some time, but the other three will be back, which is important. We're gonna need those back.
Yeah,
and of course, I'm sitting here talking about being nervous about something. We do have a full 2 weeks to get ready for Arkansas.
We do.
Could be a tough game. I don't necessarily see it playing out that way. It's going to be. Have they decided 7:30, or is that going to be announced? After this Saturday.
That'll be announced after this Saturday. What I heard is if Arkansas beats A&M this week, that we will play them primetime on ABC at 7:30. If they lose that game, we will play them at 7:00 on ESPN.
Okay. So either way, we're getting a night game. Arkansas.
Yes.
Sam Pittman does have ties to UT. He was the offensive line coach.
Back in the day.
He was under Fulmer, wasn't he?
Yeah, back in the day.
Back in the day. I ain't gonna lie to you. At one point, I kind of wanted him for the head coach spot here while we were in the middle of the whole Pruitt deal and all that.
I was hoping he'd get fired this year at Arkansas. and Hop would ring the phone. Hey, you want to come be the O-line coach?
Come coach our O-line, big guy.
Yeah, because he's a great O-line coach. One of the best in the business.
Was he at Ole Miss or Georgia?
He was at Georgia and won
That's where it was.
Yeah,
that's where it was. I couldn't remember.
Not to necessarily change the subject, but I cannot help but throw this stat at you. Arkansas's quarterback last game against Auburn went 12 for 27, 150 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks.
Field day.
It's not good.
Field day.
But he led the team in rushing, 80 yards. So he's got legs, but he's prone to mistakes in the air. I mean, he's not accurate at all.
Have y'all ever seen that video of Jameis Winston eating a W? That's what's gonna happen.
I mean, I just think again, foreshadowing to next week. We'll talk about it more next week, but I think we just mop the floor with them. I don't want to say they're a bad football team because they've played some teams in the top 25 close. I mean, they almost beat Oklahoma State. I think they should have won that game.
Mm-hmm. Well, was it not? Maybe it's the game. Was that not the one that had the very big controversial call there at the end in double overtime?
Maybe. I don't. It's been a few weeks since then.
Yeah. Either way, going to be a good game. I'll be tuned in, just see what they're operating like, see if they lose anybody.
Yeah, that's a 3:30 ESPN game against A&M.
They could have one of those. It could be one of those deals, where they finally get stuff clicking and look okay because they got Rocket running back. What's his name? What do they call him? Rocket Sanders.
Yeah,
that boy's good. If he can find a hole, he's going to find it, and he's going to be gone quickly. Very good running back. I don't know much about their quarterback or anything else. I'll find out more this week as I watch some of their old film and other teams they've played this year. But I do know a lot about their running back, and he's pretty good. Very good, actually.
All right. Well, let's roll into our season-long pick segment that we've got here.
All right, I'm gonna head out. Y'all have fun.
So. How did you do last week, Al?
Did I even get one?
I think you got one.
I think you got one, yeah.
Jeez Louise. Oh, I did. I'm 4-8 on the season. Here we go. At least I'm only going to lose a large portion of your money. I had Oklahoma -2 versus Auburn. I think that's the only one that. No.
This is
NC
this week.
State. NC State plus 20.5 versus Clemson.
Nope.
I thought, you know what? Maybe they'll get it together. Clemson's all right, but 21 points is a lot.
Maybe they had a change of heart.
I don't even know if they got on the bus. I think they left their soul wherever it was we left them laying. Charlotte. Penn State -49 versus Kent State. That one did happen.
Yes.
The only reason I picked that one is because I think me, you, and Bryce could probably go out and put 49 up against Kent State. So that one did happen. KSU -6.5 versus BYU. I thought KSU, Kansas State, I thought they would have it made. Not only do they not have it made, they got their faces obliterated by BYU. It was like 39-6. It wasn't even close. Like, it wasn't even a competitive game. That's how awful I am at picking.
38-9.
Yeah, 38-9.
They got destroyed.
Yeah.
I started watching that game late that night. I turned it off at halftime because it was just so it was a really close game until I think a minute to go before halftime, and BYU put up 17 points in the final minute of the first half.
They're still ranked.
Yeah,
I think their game versus Oklahoma State is a ranked game this week.
it is. And foreshadowing to my picks, I'm picking that one.
Yeah, for an asteroid. I wouldn't bet on them and Florida State. All three of those programs I will never bet on again, ever.
All right, Bryce, how'd you do this week?
I'd fared
Perfect.
decent. I think I lost one. I lost my last one, which was Iowa State and Arkansas State. I had Arkansas State plus 22. I thought they'd put up a fight, but of course, Iowa State. The
fighting Butch Jones.
I got to quit putting up against Iowa teams. That's like the second or third one I've lost with an Iowa team.
You're right.
So, my Ole Miss, I had them at -35 against Georgia Southern. That was a given. And then USC and Michigan, which I wasn't surprised about, but I was surprised by the final score.
Yeah, I don't think I was against you too much on that one, but I was a little bit surprised to see Michigan pull out the win on that one.
Yeah.
How was the Ole Miss Georgia Southern? I don't even remember what the score of that one was.
I think it was another bloodbath. I'm pretty sure.
I think they won big, but I don't think they obviously didn't win enough for the AP voters to keep them in front of us.
Yeah, but who have they played this year?
True.
Like, they didn't walk in the Norman and win. Yeah, they won 52-13.
The hardest game they've played this year is Wake Forest. They've not played anybody. I think they've got Kentucky this week. And you lost the Iowa State one, right?
Yeah, Iowa State absolutely putting on Butchie boy.
So you went 2-1 this week.
Yeah.
I'm quite embarrassed of one of my picks. I went 2-1 this week as well, but so my first one, Utah plus 2.5 versus Oklahoma State, hit because Utah did beat them.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Utah would beat them. My second game, Mizzou and Vandy. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. If any of you listen to me, please, I apologize now.
But in all fairness, who's seen that coming?
Nobody, but
no.
That ain't got nothing to do with bad picks. That's just the good Lord wanting Eli to suffer.
I mean,
I wish he would suffer.
Same.
And then my third one was Arkansas plus 3 versus Auburn. I knew Auburn wasn't a great football team. Arkansas was a little bit better than them, and it showed. Arkansas beat them at Auburn. So I went 2-1 this week with a total of 7-5. Bryce is now leading the pack at 9-3.
Got to keep it rolling.
Well, we're not going to say what Alex's record is. Just leave that out.
We'll keep that under the wraps for now.
I'm about to drop out.
It's 4-8, by the way.
It's 4-8.
Hey, it's a long season.
Yeah.
And I'm bouncing back this week, baby.
You remember that video of this high school football player said, "We started slow." That's you right now. We started slow.
Yes. Got to get the rally up. Got to give motivation back.
All right, Alex, lead us off this week.
All right. I have for week 5, I have Oklahoma -2 versus Auburn.
Lock. That's a
I think that is pretty solid. I regardless of what quarterback they roll out, I think their defense is good enough to stop Auburn and get me a field goal.
I mean, they held us to 25, albeit
that's what I'm saying.
Albeit we were conservative. I don't know if Auburn gets 10 points.
Oh, wow.
If their defense shows up like they did against us.
That's my whole thinking with this game. So I'm very confident in that one.
Yeah, I like that one.
My second one, I have NC State -6 versus Northern Illinois. If we jog our memory,
isn't Northern Illinois the team that beat Notre Dame?
Northern Illinois is absolutely the team that beat Notre Dame. Yes, you're correct. Scares the poo-poo out of me. But I'm thinking NC State, being a previous top 25 team, goes out, puts a good game plan together, and beats this Northern Illinois team like hopefully they can. Give me a touchdown, man. It's not a 10-point, 17-point spread. It's 6. Give me a touchdown.
Oof.
Give me a touchdown.
That's a tough one.
No, y'all ain't riding with it.
I'm not riding with that one.
I can't jump on that bandwagon, brother.
And I'm sticking with it. I'm sticking with my guns.
Okay, all right.
And then my third game is the game of the week. I am covering or not covering, but I'm doing the Georgia Bama game. I have Bama covering 2 points. I think Bama wins this game straight up. I'm not very confident in Georgia with how they've performed recently. You can point back to the Alabama game and say they did not, fare well against Southern Florida. But if you go position by position, especially with skilled players, so run me this: Milroe or Beck? Who you picking?
Milroe.
Running backs, I can't remember who it was, but you look at the stats for this year. Alabama's is better. Look at their secondary. Alabama's is better. If you go on paper, Alabama is the better team this year. I'm sticking with them. I'm going with them to win straight up. But I'm taking the cover 2.
So for clarity, for those of you that don't keep up with betting lines or anything like that, Alex said Bama will cover 2. He means Bama will lose by less than 2.
They will not get beat by 3 points or more.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm riding with that because Georgia is a 2-point favorite.
They are.
How do you think the AP poll shakes out if Bama does beat Georgia? You think they flip-flop and we stay at 5?
No, I think Georgia drops to probably right below Ole Miss.
Ooh, you think they fall that far?
I don't think they fall that far.
I think they drop to number 6, and we jump up 1. Ole Miss jumps up 1.
Where are they at right now? Texas 1.
They're 2.
Georgia 2.
Ohio State's 3, and then Alabama's 4.
Is Ohio State 3? I thought the top 3 was all SEC.
Ohio State's 3.
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay.
I think if Bama wins, I think for sure those teams flip-flop.
You just think they flip-flop and that's it?
No, yeah. I'm at minimum. They fall at least to 5. 4 or 5.
So Alabama you're right, Alabama's sitting at 4. So you think they just drop to 4 and Alabama jumps to 2 probably?
2. Yeah. I don't think there's big enough pace to move.
I mean, if their win's going to be better than anybody Ohio State could beat this week.
I think it just depends on the game, really, how it plays out. If they lose, I'm going to stick to my guns and say if Georgia loses this game, they drop to 6. I don't think they're the 6th best team in the country. I think they're better than that.
Georgia?
Yes. But I also, knowing how the AP voters are overreacting, I do think with a loss, you can't put them in front of undefeated Tennessee and undefeated Ole Miss. Maybe in front of Ole Miss because Ole Miss has played nobody yet. So we'll see. But I have a hard time believing that they're going to put a one-loss Georgia team in front of Tennessee.
So what about?
And that goes for Alabama too. If they lose that game, they're dropping.
Yeah, that's the thing. So if Bama loses the ball game, sitting at 4, if they lose by say a touchdown, where do they end up?
Touchdown, they go to 6. Yeah.
Who's sitting at 7 right now?
So Tennessee 5, Ole Miss 6. Let's see. Let me pull that up real fast.
Is it Oregon? No, it's not. No, I don't think it's Oregon.
Number 7 we have Miami.
Oh yeah.
Who's Miami got this week? Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
As long as Miami handles Virginia Tech, which you'll see in my pick here in a minute, I think they do. They may throw Alabama back to 7 or 8.
Yeah,
I see
it's possible.
I see them going back that far if they lose.
Yeah,
no matter how bad they lose, I see them going back that far.
Yeah, because it's just hard to put a team with a loss in front of all these teams that are projected to be playoff teams with undefeated records.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Especially, I guess being a bye week, you could drop Tennessee if you needed to, but
I think Tennessee either stays put or jumps 1. I find it hard to believe that they stay put at all this week. I think you're looking at next week's game when we go to Arkansas. We will be the number 4 team in the country no matter what happens.
Fair.
I'll take it.
All right, we've beat my picks to death and then somehow got off.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Some weird tangent that was good.
We're not to do that.
Bryce, you're up to bat.
Starting off, I got BYU plus 3.5 over Baylor after what they did last week.
I
think ESPN and Vegas are silly for putting Baylor up there after the showing on Saturday. I just don't think it's feasible that Baylor is going to pull it out, honestly. I said I wasn't going to bet on Iowa's teams again, but here I am. I got Iowa State 14.5, minus 14.5 versus Houston. I was conflicted about that, the way Houston was ranked at the beginning of the year, but I at this point, I don't think it matters with them, honestly. And last but not least, team that I've watched last year because of how well they performed and started over the last 2 weeks, watched them again. But I got JMU minus 21.
It's a good football team.
Ball State.
That's a good football team.
I think
Did they not just beat North Carolina straight up?
They did.
Yes.
That is a good football team.
That's a good football team. Saying that they're going to is it JMU that? No, it's not JMU that's competing. It's another team. I was thinking for that 5th playoff spot, but JMU's
they're
lower level than that.
Yeah, they can be though.
Mm-hmm.
Oh well, that's okay. So that was them. I think it was them, Boise State, and
Liberty in that. You got
Liberty, maybe
Memphis in that. There's a bunch of teams that can be involved.
It's a run. How are they going to do it?
Boise State's right now your top-ranked non-power conference.
What conference are they in?
I like that pick.
They're in the Mountain West, but they currently have 1 loss. And I don't know if a 1-loss team makes it in. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't see how you could put a 1-loss conference champion over a 12-0 conference champion.
Right. Let's see.
Unless they're already dedicated slots. Are they dedicated slots?
I mean that fifth pick is going to be, or that fifth not at large. The fifth
The group of
guaranteed,
five
yeah,
or
the
whatever.
fifth guaranteed spot is your top group of five, if you want to call it that.
I hate that. I'll be honest with you. I do not like auto bids at all.
I like the auto bid for that one because you've got teams like, what year was it that UCF was undefeated?
Yeah. But then they rolled out Cincinnati the next year, who got absolutely obliterated.
That is true. That's true.
But I mean, they deserve a spot. I mean, if you go undefeated, you go undefeated.
Mhm.
It is what it is. I mean,
Florida
how are you
State.
going to shut up? I mean,
Florida State
okay,
undefeated.
you just pooped all over that talking to me because I now no longer support a group of five champion coming in.
But I believe Florida State should have got in last year. But that's another topic for another
Right?
day.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's see. My picks are Miami -20 versus Virginia Tech.
That's going to hit.
I like that
Virginia
a
Tech's
lot.
not a good football team.
That's pretty rough.
My next pick is Oklahoma State +5 versus Kansas State, who just got smoked by BYU.
Probably going to win that straight up.
I like that one. And my third pick is UCF -14.5 versus Colorado.
I know nothing about. I hope that happens.
Yeah.
I like UCF. I've not really paid attention to who they've played and how they've played, other than KJ Jefferson's their quarterback.
They're a 14-point favorite or dog?
Yes, favorite. They're favored by 14.5.
Wow.
What's that say about Dion?
Ain't nobody believe in me. That's what it says.
Yeah. No. We don't. Who'd they struggle with this past weekend?
Nebraska. Nebraska beat their eyes in, didn't they?
I think that was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Oh,
This one was
Colorado
like-
State.
No.
That was a while back too.
I'm trying to remember who it was, but they
I got
kindly
you.
struggled.
I got you. Baylor. They beat him in overtime.
Colorado did?
Yeah, Colorado beat Baylor in overtime.
That must have been why he was flexing his Rolex again on
Mhm.
TV.
Yeah.
Beat a team, got a...
This game is at UCF.
It's a lock then. You're going 3-0 this week, no doubt.
I like my picks.
I mean, I'm
Hey,
not...
and y'all
that'd
took,
be the
y'all
only one
took all
I'd
the
be
y'all took all the good ones before I even had a chance. So.
fair. Yeah.
Gotta be quick
I
on
had
that.
to. I had to get on them. I got to make some ground up.
Well, to be fair, you got the first pick of the litter, and I'm not a fan of that NC State one. So
Still sucked with my picks. I even had the first ones last week.
maybe you should just wait. Maybe you should just wait.
Just give me the garbage picks. Maybe I can do something with it.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, anything else to say other than defense is elite?
Defense is elite, and
That's right.
we'll be checking in next week, talking about this Arkansas, preview them, go over their offense and defense, and dive a little more into them, see what we're dealing with, and get ready to head down to Fayetteville.
Smoke some hogs.
Smoke
That's
some
right.
hogs.
We're having ribs for that game, right?
I hope so.
Like we have to, or a Boston
No,
Bud or something. We got to
Pretty
eat something.
necessary. I
we-
would assume that's necessary.
We have to eat pork that week. I'm
There
just.
we go. I like it. It's a good plan.
All right, guys.
Appreciate y'all. See you next week.
Sayonara.